Is that? Yeah, you want. Sorry, I just was pottering around in my room, but you wanted us unmuted, yeah, for the applause at the beginning.
Welcome everyone to the Sad Poets Doorstep Club. It's number 5 now. It's weird how fast this goes. I was running this as a maybe 3 to 4 month thing before, so doing one every month is kind of jarring, but it's nice. Anyway, we're going to have a really great night of mental health poetry. We've got a lot of really talented poets, most of which I'm friends with, which is nice how that turned out. We've got headliners, we've got DrayZera, we've got Elizabeth McGeown, and we've got J Grudgings. So this is going to be really special, I think, actually. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. There will be links, there will be all sorts where you can follow them. Headliners have all got links on their announcements on Facebook. So if you want to see more of what they can do, then follow them on there. Right. I'm going to start us with a poem, and then we'll get going. This is a piece that has actually been accepted for publication, which is really exciting. I might have performed this one last time, I can't remember. But I'm doing it again because I like it, and I can, because this is my event. This is Shards of Glass. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? The mirror shrieks and shatters. The floor is littered with fragments of my face. It's as close to complete as I've felt all week. I don't take compliments well, but here you stand so sure of yourself. I look around, you must be talking to someone else. I bite down on my tongue, swallow back the laughter, the self-hatred, and smile so prettily, and think about how monsters bare their teeth before they devour their prey. I don't see myself anymore. A stranger stands in my stead among shards of glass, and I try to move, but I'm held back, like I'm the one trapped in the fragments at their feet. And that's when I hear you speak. You must be talking to this stranger. And I wonder how they managed to trick you into believing that my scars are worth the effort. I tried to tell you that they're not, that I don't deserve nice things, that like Han Solo, I too shot first, the muzzle pressed to my temple, but I can't. Because I'm being ground to dust under this stranger's feet. I resent him, this imposter who switched us out so he could live the life I had. I have to admit, he's doing a better job. Maybe now that I'm in here, little more than some twisted reflection, I can't do any more harm. I think it's better this way. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all? I break the glass before it can scream at the sight of me. I'll take the bad luck on the off chance it'll say my name. Thank you.
Woo!
I might have done that one before, but never mind. Anyway, right, before we head into it, I did forget to say there are a lot of mature and adult themes being discussed here. So if you are sensitive to any of this, maybe muting it for a while, stepping away would be good. Performers will be giving more in-depth trigger warnings as they see fit, but here is your general event-wide trigger warning, just in case. Right. Moving swiftly onwards, the first poet of the night is the last headliner from the last event. Please welcome Sarah Thomason.
Thank you. Hello. Yes, I've got a poem written down this time, so hopefully I won't crash and burn because it's not really late. Sorry about that last time. So this is a poem that I wrote earlier this year. It's still technically new shit because I haven't done it before. And it is about my dad, who I found out died at the end of last year. And this poem has some trigger warnings for mention of child sexual abuse, mention of gaslighting, and family estrangement for some reason. So this isn't a eulogy for my dad. Fuck you for not even being worth grieving. Fuck you for making me explain to people when I told them my dad just died. I'm mainly relieved knowing now at least I know I'll have to meet you on the street. I know you never knew or cared how many years I would flinch across the street if a white man with a white beard came towards me. I don't even know what it was I feared. You were always the one who should have been scared of us, the three of us, the ones who knew your secret, though pre-Me Too, none of us knew if people would believe it. Fuck you for sliding out of it, respectable, well-spoken, and going on to break more lives the way ours have been broken. This image that you cultivated of wise old man, of gentle sage, it always kind of grated against the kind of jokes you told, jokes that nobody should be telling to an 8-year-old, but then that was always very you. Hey kid, I'll let you in on what the grown-ups say and do, even let you do it with me. Don't you want to be treated as an equal? Letting on the secret. You can't tell anyone else or they'll think you're evil. Fuck you for making me believe it. Even though you never had much of a chance with me, if it hadn't been for my sister speaking out, I know how it would have been. I had a narrow escape and grew up believing that rape, sexual assault were pretty much a certainty and very much the victim's fault because they still let you see me. After it all came out, they knew, and they still let you see me. They said, he's your dad, see? He has a right to you, and you never laid a finger on me. Why? Because I was your alibi, your little Judas goat, making you look fatherly, lending credence to your story of innocent victim, good dad, smeared by your progeny. You talk shit about the daughter who spoke the truth, not me, the one who saved me from your hands. You told me she was dishonest, disrespectful, black sheep of the family. What a shame it was that she turned out so badly. I knew why she hated you. Didn't know I was allowed to do the same. I'd been told not to let you get me alone, so I knew if it happened I'd be to blame. So I stayed polite and quiet till it was safe to walk away. I knew the power trip you'd use to put down insubordination. Is it any wonder I'll do anything these days to avoid any confrontation? That I had to wait for the confirmation that you were finally really dead before I could say this. Fuck you, Dad. Fuck you. Thank you. That was a thing. To just like change the mood if I got time for a short one, I have complete about turn of mood, but I have just finished writing 100 sonnets about the coronavirus. I wrote Sonnet 100 yesterday, and that is also depressing, but in a different way. Ugh, I'm all shaky. In 10 years' time, what will the children ask us? What was coronavirus like? Were you a key worker? And if so, was your task as dangerous as our teachers say to do? My homework's about life in 2020, and you're quite old. You must have been alive. So what was lockdown like? You must have plenty of anecdotes to say how you survived. I hope that's what they ask us, but I'm nearly sure future generations will have more disturbing questions. Wow, did people really touch each other in the time before? I read something online and I thought, this is really gross. So tell me, what on earth were kisses? Thank you very much. My face started glowing really brightly there because the sun's coming in the window.
That was fantastic, Says, as usual. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, we don't have Ross in just yet. He's still trying. So I'm going to move swiftly onwards to Beth Hartley. You're muted still.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Hooray! Hey, everybody. I've been making a rapid switcheroo of what I'm reading tonight, so I hope that you like this selection of my poetry. This is depression. When you set the alarm with good intent, but the chemicals pull you down. And you're still asleep when I leave, where signed off risks loss, because the words won't behave and the tears haven't stopped. They are breaking through the inhibitors and 4 rings of atoms. This is depression. In the cold light of morning, knowing no one else will do this, even when all you want is rest, even when all you want is for people to know what's happening, but telling them is so painful you'd rather tear out your own heart. Unwritten and unsaid make a tsunami. This is depression, when you realise the stuff to make you better makes you sweaty sicker, waiting to ambush you, so you spin around the pharmacy wondering when they will call time. This is depression. A painted face on worn out skin, trying to build with bricks that keep on falling. Because that's all there is today. Maintenance will have to wait even if barriers are needed and you're still faster on slow. This is depression. When you know the weight you leave behind and still leave it. When you change everyone's plans and expect everyone else to change too. When you force yourself into unsuitable places to make this world go round. This is depression. Always yours over mine. When I am still broken and bruised and even the predictable isn't enough to move you. I drag necessity to school and work and work. Vomiting scribbled words in the broken half-light of morning because this is depression. I've got two more for you, shorter. This one is one of my NaPoWriMo poems from this year. It's called Weltschmerz, which means world tears. Today has been me as Atlas, carrying weight of others' ignorance, my own worries of expectation. These days are heavy, spilling from their calendar confines, oozing sticky presumptions of productivity and pleasure. This, when inertia can fall at less than a second's notice. The slip away so gently sudden that it takes longer to notice than to fall. Burdens grow as hours pass, continents heavy with tears, my hands cannot brush away. These adhesive days, where living on seems all that can be managed, that should feel enough, so please. Reject the chains of forced ambition, choose instead to share the weight of this holding pattern until we can hold each other. And this is maybe a hopeful note. I actually wrote this last year. It's called Emergency Contact. You can hold my hand if you like. Sometimes I leave it there in case this minute is too much to bear alone. In case you need to know that something is solid. When everything shakes, in case of emergency. In case you need something to hold on to. Maybe in case I do. But I wondered if you knew. So, in case the weight of living is more than one can carry. In case today's grief needs a friend. In case companions are scarce. In case you're waiting for a sign. Then this is it. In case of emergency, please break this barrier where touch has become something we don't do. And our skins have been left hungry, a state of sensual deprivation, as prevalent as safety notices, but nowhere near as well lit. So, break rank, break the rules, break habit, break the silence. In case of emergency, please break glass.
Woo!
Thank you.
That was absolutely wonderful, Beth. Thank you very much for doing that.
Bless you. Thank you.
That
You're
was great.
welcome.
Moving swiftly onwards, we have up next the co-host for one of my favorite Zoom poetry gigs, Choose Life, Choose Poetry. It's Andi Talbot.
Right. Cheers. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, sweet, cool. So I've got two poems. One I literally finished writing about an hour ago. It will be heavily edited, I assume, at some point. So this is just like trying it out. This is something I wrote a little while ago. I don't know, during lockdown, it's like been quite good for me personally, mostly, but it was so good that I forgot that those bad days, and that sounds stupid, but I forgot those bad days existed, and then I was hit by about a fortnight of them. So this was written during that. It's called Bathing with Bad News. I hear your footsteps shuffle slowly down the hall, you coming back from the kitchen, I upstairs alone, bathwater now cold, still I sit and stare into space. The wires of my brain have been fried and I can't quite put them back together, or at least not the way they were. I hear your footsteps shuffle slowly down the hall. You disappear into the living room, the name deceiving as though we spend our days in there. I never feel like we ever really live. I, upstairs, have moved from the water to the cold wooden floor. Still, I sit and stare into space alone. I hear you laugh in the living room at something on the TV, and I upstairs sit alone and wish you'd find the stairs and find me sat alone on the cold wooden floor, staring into space alone. Thanks. So yeah, this next one doesn't have a name. That's a lie. It's called Slouch. And it's about something that happened last year. Like I say, it's the first draft, but I wanted to get it ready for tonight. Could it be the eyes? Some newly discovered shade of blue. They are piercing me, and I finally feel seen. I stumble through my order, my tongue tripping over every single syllable, and I'm not quite sure it's got anything to do with the fact I've been day drinking rum like it's going out of style. Could it be the nails? Painted on in public, between tending to the pumps and pouring pints for the parched patrons. I envy them. It's such a power move, and they need to know I feel this way. If you'll allow me to get slightly off topic, the music in here is always memorable. It's the only reason I have Shazam downloaded on my phone, and until tonight was the only reason I came back here. Block Party, Manson, The Doors, the list goes on. I don't know. Maybe it was just the company, maybe it was just the alcohol, maybe it was just my mood, or maybe I was just feeling it. But the music in that place always did something to me. Between every round, I would talk my friend's ear off about it, about those nails and those eyes and that smile, until eventually I find the courage, likely Dutch, but courage nonetheless, and I find my feet, and I find myself at the bar, and I find myself finally telling him. The weight lifts, we slip into casual conversation, and the night rolls on. Thank you.
Andy, bloody brilliant, mate.
Cheers.
I hope your introduction was puppy enough for you as well. But oh, mate, no. I remember the day that I met you as well, and to see where you've come from where you were is just, it's brilliant. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Cheers for that.
It's all right. Next up, the last open micer of this third. He is now in the room, Ross Punton.
Yeah, I feel a bit unprepared because I've only just got on.
I'm sorry, mate. I can hear you, by the way. You're in.
Oh,
Take
good.
your time.
Sorry about that. My laptop's just ancient.
It's all right.
I feel totally unprepared because I was just focused on trying to get in. Okay, this is one I wrote at a recent writer's work at North Tyneside Writers Circle. It's called Mantra of Delusional. It's about lockdown. Why do we have to stay in? It's not going to touch us, this virus. Radical action needed. Don't make me laugh. The virus doesn't touch people like us. What a load of fuss. We're perfectly safe. We live in a nice place. It won't reach here. Don't worry, my dear. I don't have time for just another short one.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, this is one we've asked by using just random words. So one of the words was fashion. It's on the same workshop. What My clothes aren't in fashion, not on trend. Well, lordy-daw, thank you, my friend. Now get out of my way. Let me get to my car. Have a good day. I should have said that was called Shop. Sorry, it would have been much clearer who I was speaking to.
That's all right, no worries. You've got time for a few more, by the way.
Okay, I'm kind of just using you all as guinea pigs, they have to admit. These are like kind of brand new ones, which probably isn't the best thing to admit.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. This one was you had to do something about like a dream. You were given the line, "My dream stalks my day" to start with, and then you had to like build on it. This is called realization. And I should just say, I do feel like this occasionally, but I'm not really this like this. In case anyone starts worrying about us, my dream stalks my day. I do my best to shake away the horrible thoughts. I feel it preying on my mind. I'm happy, I repeat, like a mantra, as I trudge back and forth, till I hear yet one more nasty remark, and realization pounces. I'm not happy. Sorry, that's it.
All right, thank you, Ross. Thank you very much for that. That was brilliant. And to be so ready so quickly after joining the session, oh, that was wonderful. That was really good. Now, moving on to our first headliner. Born 10 years before the millennia, they began writing aged 7 on and off. The on-switch occurred one open mic night in the year 16th of the millennia, when the then 25-year-old stepped onto stage for his debut. Please join me in welcoming to the stage, DrayZera!
Woo! Hello, everybody. My name is DrayZera, and this is the event we've all been waiting for. For we all have so many fantastic performers, a fantastic host, and all that jazz. 5 poems for you today, with the first one about a reflection upon myself in not being an act of which I worry about which is fail, a mixture of imposter syndrome in my past. This is very past smiles. Pride reeks inside my veins, circulating where I was despondent in past, to the ascendant of the lightning bolt of now. I demand the man of yesterday is buried away, locked up, never to be seen again. While the mic stand still functions, I don't want the rusted squeak dysfunction. While the old dance still waltz, I want to learn new walks of life. I didn't live to become a tribute act. I lived to look forward to be the best version intact. Smile forward, don't smile back. Thank you. And I hope you guys are all good in the hood. Yeah, wonderful to see familiar faces and new faces alike. And of course, you do ask yourself, do you think you know yourself? Because in life, we always sit down, or at times we sit down and go, wow, who are we? What am I? Who am I? And who are you? So talking about that journey, this is, do you think you know me? Now, you say you know me, but how much do you really know me? Yes, you know my name, my age, and my birthday, but all of this is just scrapped up paper that any of us can obtain. You could tear the front page and gobble it up, but that is nowhere near enough to read the full story. Life is not a joystick of A, B, and C. Life is not an RPG from start to finito, amigos. Life is full of the most complex algorithmic functions that not even the most prolific professors or mathematicians of mathematicians can equate to me or any of you. Life is not a fairy tale. What I post publicly is my painted art from the heart, but I nay bother with pointless tropes or signaling trope quizzes such as how many children am I gonna get? Or what year am I gonna die? Because it is, whilst I admit it has its novelty charm, an insult and harm for JavaScript data to detect who I am. But who am I? A mask-wearing hooded male that does spoken word, literature, music, and the like. A colourful personality that has this extrovert persona in front of others. Who am I? But what I am not is a label. I was not born to be boxed up and taped shut to follow the traditional stream. I was born to find my own river of dreams, so I could run away from severed streams and breathe my own air without despair. No longer I am haunted. Forever I continue my chapter. But do you think you know me? Nobody truly does. Nobody, including me. Thank you. So, I wrote this poem 4 years ago, and it's about the NHS. So if anybody has been affected by the NHS recently, that's your trigger warning, because that's linked to the NHS. And it's called Care Cut. Life support is gone. Imagine saying that to a loved one who desperately desire their parent, child, or best friend breathing once again. Nurses, support workers, care companies are doing their best, but they're forever bereft of breath of breath, austerity, and absurd complexity of government cuts. Cut funding for more hospital beds, cut allowances for care packages instead. And while they harp on and on like a broken record without discord, they say, we need to save, our NHS is great, for heaven's sake. Well, mate, let me bellow from the broken cello that services are in disarray down to the bone graves of nothing gets shifted from your so-called intelligent cabinet. Hospitals are shutting, community centres closing, staff stretched and surviving on scraps of lightning, because lightning, like lives, never strike twice. So care like data and numbers may not affect you personally with your congenial expenses, yet statistics, specifics, and logistics are not supporting the masses that need love, 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 love. The support and love before the loved one ends the life, all without care, so numb. Thank you. So this penultimate poem here is another poem I wrote a few years ago. And it mentions how I struggle with my relationship with my parents, and throughout my life, it has caused a lot of mental health with me, because a bit of a long story short, with me, I grew up in a culture of which I didn't feel comfortable in due to my parents' strong religious upbringing. And so throughout a long time in my life, I had to kind of fight for the person I want to be, you know? And so, yeah, this is called Black Lipstick. It goes a bit like this. I crow jealousy to these dragonflies, the misery compiled by their freedom fluttering wings, free to ascend in tangents with their peers like magnets, while I choke on my bitter dose of tablets. Pardon the ungratefulness, but my upbringing is of an unyielding mountain, gradient steeper, the darkness deeper, the thirsty Lucifer quenches as I dream a wishing fountain. Dispensing narrow alleys without my shining lanterns. However, I admit a safety, starving my clean butterfly from becoming the venomous moth, fueled by nature's grace, not by absence, marionette fate. But what is life without some fight? What are lives without your sundial denial? To marry me away to a shadow I never met? To showcase me in your spotlight without loving my sight? Entrapment by your accursed whipping ways, strife I battle, with cries of sorrow caused by your lambasting slaves. So what if I'm by? So what of my ink? So what of my maiden tone from a world you disapprove from your apparent high horse? This is my life, my fight, my right, O mother. This is my might, my light, my beautiful sight, thy father. So what of my black lipstick? I shall fleece it with glee as you embark on your pitiful sick. I choke jealously to these dragonflies, the colourful destroying my freedom, stuttering stings, free to ascend like missiles honing their painted target, while I choke on my fatal dose of sadness. I am the married Lucifer with my doll-like state of lies. Thank you. And so, with this last poem, it's the title poem of my debut collection, Broken Circuit Board. So, if you'd like to find out more information, feel free to check out the link below. Thank you all very much for having me. I really appreciate everyone listening to me. I really have enjoyed all the performers so far. And I can say from each performer so far, and I'm sure performers moving forward for tonight, I will learn so much more. So this is Broken Circuit Board. Mine cannot compute, all in disrepute. My sparks are gone, all undone. All I want is to function. Armor has chinks, just cannot blink. My world is sunk, loading stunned. I need fixing, please. Virus and disease. My CPU corrupt, all abrupt. Reboot me. Antivirus. Free my MB. Wipe my drive clean. Termination complete. Thank you. My name is DrayZera, and I shall Zera later. Goodbye.
That was absolutely wonderful. I do really enjoy your delivery. It's definitely unique. Right. We're going to be having a 10-minute break now. Unmute yourself so we can chat if you want. But yeah, 10 minutes. We'll be back at 1:45. So yeah, unmute, have a chat, do what you need, go for a smoke, have a drink, go to the toilet, whatever you need.
Well, he's brilliant, isn't he?
What a
Yeah.
first half. That was fantastic.
Oh, thanks. I've just missed it. Who just performed that?
What does Zera later even mean?
It's the pun on see you later. DrayZera later.
I got that.
Wonderful, wonderful,
It
wonderful.
was terrifying and brilliant at the same time. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. I'll let DrayZera know. I don't know who. I'm just doing my Hague. I'm just on DrayZera's Zoom. You see.
Behind the chair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how are you fine folks doing so far?
Yeah, this is good.
Really good.
Enjoying it, yeah? Awesome.
Yeah, fantastic.
Now, I don't want to spoil my plans too early because I'm not sure when I'm going to do this, but if you need maybe doing a slam at some point.
Ooh.
Go. Yeah, definitely.
You think that would be cool?
Okay. Online stuff.
I mean, to be fair, Tom, everything you've done so far has been cool. So I don't doubt the coolness.
Thank you.
You should do a slam, absolutely. Bloody right.
You think? Thanks for the feedback. I'll think about it.
What happened to the one that you already talked to me about?
Ooh. Don't go spoiling it.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, coronavirus, exactly.
True, but I've already had confirmation from Books Beyond Bars, but they will send me a T-shirt to wear for it.
Excellent. That's really cool. Yeah, no, basically coronavirus is what happened. It's everything went out the window, really. But yeah, no, planning to do something at some point on Zoom. So
when do you guys those that run events reckon we'll be back in pubs? Because they're talking about opening them next week, aren't they?
they have. I won't feel safe until we're at least like level 2, level 1 at the very minimum. I think level 1 is.
They say from August the 1st they're going to allow people who's been shielding all this time to be allowed out.
Yeah.
So
well, that's it.
I guess it's a wait and see. And I've been missing traveling. Like I've been missing traveling to Canterbury every few months to see Alex Vellis in Cobra form. I miss going up north to see, you know, amazing performers, and like literally like I just can't wait to travel again. As long as it's safe. Safety.
I'm planning September, but
yeah, that's what we had in mind as well. Exactly the same as we just said. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to try that collaboration again at some point.
Yeah, have to give it another go at some point.
We talked about that today as well, actually.
Yeah, I checked my calendar and the date actually passed recently. So.
Yeah, we're just trying to wrap our head around when we're starting.
That's so sad.
Yeah, I had to look at my calendar and be like, oh wait, I'm meant to be in Manchester today. Shit.
Yeah, oh god, Jesus, that is sad.
Luckily, we're not planned and we don't put anything in calendars.
Yeah, we didn't notice.
I didn't.
Will, I think that this is the longest time I've gone without seeing you.
Because the world's been shut in. I think, you know what, that's 100% right.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I don't think that venues opening is going, like pubs being open is going to be the problem. It's going to be the distance issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
The event that I regularly attend is in a building that's owned by some people who said they're not having anybody. It's owned by the university, and they're not having university next year. It's all going to be online. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen there.
Which uni is that? Which uni is it?
Cambridge.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, they've just gone online for the whole of 2021.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like that.
York St John's are determined to get people back in for September.
Yeah, I think a lot of places are. But the other thing is like we meet in a gallery. Fenspeak meets in a gallery. It's a beautiful space. We love being in it, but it's not that big.
Yeah, that's our problem.
And the one that I run is in a coffee shop. If they can't, if we can't basically rack the rafters in there, it's not worth them. It's not worth them staying open for us, unfortunately. So we're working on it. We're working on it.
I've been thinking about this. Some of these pubs and some of these venues are so small, and we have to have everyone 2 meters apart.
Yeah.
I'm going to have enough people in to make it worth paying for the electricity.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So that would mean you'd have one person in the room, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
It's a problem on their end though as well, because they need people. You know, events like this is what gets people in, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, like we do as an independent pub, and they're struggling at the minute. They've got like fundraisers to keep them open in the first place. So.
Yeah, because it's like you can open the pubs, but you're not going to get many people in them, are you? Like,
yeah.
What venue are you looking at, Rob?
Back on themselves again.
Lock 91. I've been in touch with them. So something I've looked at doing is running it outside in the beer garden there. So they've got a terrace that opens now.
Yeah, they've got a nice little terrace, haven't they? So that's quite a good location.
Yeah. I've thought of just doing an impromptu one. I live right next to Angel Meadow, and I thought of just doing like an impromptu thing in there. But yeah, potentially on the terrace.
I said the same thing because we've got a forest now. We just moved to Bolton, and like there's a lovely little forest there. It's getting people there, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah, that's it. Have you moved to Bolton?
Yeah.
Wow, right. Oh, well, when this is blown over, I'd love to come up and.
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah. See you next year.
Yeah. I know Bolton really well. I used to. My old job was there when I worked with deaf students.
I was like, here. Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Let's come and show us around.
Give us a tour.
We don't have to go anywhere, have we? We're stuck in the house.
We see Asda. We know Asda very well.
Oh no, it's not. What we need to do, right? Have you seen the Flaming Lips? You know, Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips. He's got his massive Zorb. We just need to get where everybody's in a Zorb, don't we?
Yeah, we just need to get the funds for it, and we'll be cracking.
That's it, yeah.
We all chip together. Oh, geez.
This is a very interesting idea.
1 minute, guys. 1 minute.
Whoa.
Sorry, I'll be 1 second.
Please go on.
I'm up for a giant Zorb ball, though. If anyone. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You don't stop talking now. We've got a minute.
Now we've got 30 seconds.
It's not the first time I've heard the Zorb balls mentioned, for sure.
Sorry, I'm in charge now. I'll mute you when I'm ready.
I have nothing of worth to say.
Poetry, yeah. We just all want to hear Tom Rudd.
Oh. That's cute. Go on, then we'll start now. Welcome back to the Sad Poets Doorstep Club. This is the second third. I keep getting that wrong and saying halves. It's like there's 3. Right. Okay. So, time for another poem from me. I did this last month because it was the anniversary of my aunt's death, but now it's the anniversary of her birth. It was her birthday recently, and so yeah, I'm gonna read another one because, you know, I'm soppy and I miss her, and I'm allowed to, so it's fine. If you haven't guessed, concept warning for grief and loss. This is Stage of Grief. Oh yeah, Connor, if you can spotlight me again, because I can't do it myself. Oh wait, yes I can. Cool. Stage of grief. There's a stage of grief that comes before bereavement. I'm not really sure what it's called, but I know that it's there. I know that it's tight, squeezing you like a straitjacket as you lay in bed at night. Unceasing panic makes you unable to move, unable to think, unable to articulate in a way that would make you stay. And I'm talking quick, so I don't have time to think. I don't have time to stop and stare and reflect. I can spit bars without splitting hairs. Pretend doesn't get to me there. Isn't time to dwell on it, because I don't get lost in it, and that's something I don't dare. There's a stage of grief that comes before bereavement. I didn't listen to what it was called. I saw a screw in the living room table, and that became my world. For a while, I didn't exist outside of that single screw. On the train ride home, I fixated on the clock. Nothing existed but the clock, and the motion, and the feeling, the sense of loss, even though I haven't lost anything yet, because it's a stage of grief that comes before bereavement. Suddenly, I'm 10 years old, strolling down Sheffield streets as I go to visit her again. A snake had escaped the local zoo, so we were house-sitting for a week or two, and I'm not sure why. It was venomous. And I was 10. And I guess it took a bit longer than that. I guess in the end you still got bit. I guess it was inevitable because there's a stage of grief that comes before bereavement. I'm not even the person this is happening to, but I still can't seem to breathe. I feel selfish because of the toll this is taking on me. On the one hand, I know I have a right to be upset, but on the other, I need to be strong for you, and I can't be. You taught me the wonders of fizzy orange as a child, and now whenever I taste it, I get dragged back in time to a point I didn't have to worry. You opened my eyes to reading, and now every page is tear-stained, and every word is a knife that carves your name into my eyelids. I can't exist in this town while that existence reminds me of you. I know that's not the helpful response, but I could never face my demons, so what hope do I have when they wear your face? Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards into the second third, I would like to welcome to the stage Ray Garner.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for having me. I've always wanted to come to this event in the real world, but it's never been able to happen because it's usually in York and usually on a night when I have to work the next day. So it's really nice to be able to be here from Sheffield in the internet. I'm gonna start off with a poem that I wrote a long time ago and contains mention of post self-harm scars, so trigger warning for that. This is called Scar Tissue. It still hurts just there if you catch it, touch it, or stretch the skin further than usual. You can still see it, red marks around the thin pale line where it once was. Sometimes I wrung my finger across it to remind myself of the mistake I made, and now I'll never make that same mistake again, knowing just how much it hurts, how long it took to heal, that perhaps I will never be the same again, even after the redness and the pain fade away. Thanks, guys. Also, because it's June and Pride Month, I thought it'd be nice to do one of the ones that I wrote for Pride previously. So I wrote this a couple of years ago. It's called Dust Off the Rainbows. Let's dust off the rainbows, it's Pride Month again, so we'll join in the party and the cute little gimmicks, but put our money where our mouth is? Don't be silly. We'll fly the flag as long as it's making us some money, but once the month's over, the rainbows go back in the closet and all the gays can get shoved back into. Because a cis-white pride is something we can get behind, but as far as the rest of the LGBT community, isn't that a sandwich? You should just be happy with what we allow you to have, and once a year, we'll dust off the rainbows. Thank you very much, everyone.
You've got time for another one if you want.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is another one which has some mention of physical injury. It's called Battered, Bruised and Bleeding. I actually wrote this one this year. This morning is dark in the heavy fog. I watch the plants at the side of the path, vines with their thin green grasping stems, brambles with their pale prickling thorns, nettles with their serrated stinging leaves. All growing, encroaching onto the path, reaching up, reaching out towards me, trying to pull me down into the darkness, but I resist. Pulling away from their grasp, dark bruises bloom on my pale flesh as I walk on. Trying to avoid their grip, I reach a fork in the path and look down. The one that carries on the way I'm walking is densely packed with more evil greenery, but the path that leads off to the left is almost clear. I can even see sunshine. So I take the clearer path and finally emerge, battered, bruised, and bleeding in the sun. Thank you.
That was brilliant, Ray. Well done. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, and I look forward to seeing you in person once this whole thing is finished. Oh, that would be nice. I need friends. I need people again. Right. Moving swiftly onwards. Next up, we have Alex Brand.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Tom. I really appreciate it. Well done to everyone else that's just performed, and good luck to those who are about to perform. The first poem I'm going to do is about the thing we have where we don't think we're enough. So this poem is called It Is Enough. It is enough to just be you. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you present yourself to the world, for how you dress, for how you respond to achievements. You don't owe anyone who doubts you, who doubts your credentials, who doubts your way of living, who doubts your compassion. You don't owe anyone who refuses your worth, who refuses to take you seriously, who refuses to register your presence, who refuses to see you beyond a helper. You don't owe anyone for anything. It is enough to just be you. And if they don't understand this, I guess they're not right for you. Thank you. Poem number 2. This is a very short poem. It's only 10 lines. I'm going to try and do 4 in 5 minutes. Hopefully it works, but I've done this one recently and it's about basically erasing the memory of someone that you've had in a photo frame. There is no memory of you here, just a darkness that lingers when your name is mentioned. Empty photo frames which once had your smiling face now bear a darkish background. To be filled with those with promise, whose hearts are pure, other than deceitful. Thank you. So this next poem is sort of, it's a reminder that we're all still alive and living, and that you should never let anyone get you down. And this next one is called Take a Breath. When you feel the world is crumbling down around you, take a breath. When your heart is throbbing and you're at breaking point, take a breath. When you shut yourself away and close the blinds obscuring vision, take a breath. When your mind starts to wander and you have that lump in your throat, take a breath. When you feel like this is a weakness, take a breath. When you feel like you're on your own, take a breath. Speak, look around you. We all have these feelings. We all suffer. We all have a voice that matters. You're not alone. Okay. The last one is a little bit different from the mental health stuff. It's sort of a, well, I took on the theme of fire. So this theme is called, this poem is called We Burn. I like we burn to the point we feel its measure. Our hearts ablaze, set on our ways, we trudge to a better deity. Our souls are scorched from a day's dew, travelling across lands with intention, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Our flame still flickers, stepping over cinders left behind from a previous journey. We are almost there, burning, burning alike. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tom, and well done to everyone else who's performing, who is yet to perform. Thank you very much.
Mate, that was brilliant. Oh my God. I resonated with literally everything you said. Like, seriously.
Thank you.
Absolutely everything. Whew. Next up, he is, no offense to anybody else, one of my favorite people that does this kind of thing. Please welcome Charlie Staunton.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I get really weirdly nervous at these Zoom things because you can't see anybody's reaction if you're doing it on your phone. But I've got 2 poems. One's called 47 and the other one's called 87. 47, content warning, sort of themes of suicide and self-harm. It goes a bit like this. Around the corner, the 47 world. I teetered on the edge of the curb. But for me, it felt like the edge of the world in the moment, my mind perturbed, and I was balanced on the precipice. One step forward into the abyss, one step back to forget about it, but I felt like either way I might just break into bits. My mind, the scales swinging to and fro, trying to reach an equilibrium and find and nail the cons and pros that clashed like gladiators in a coliseum. First things first, it would hurt. I imagine the wheels of a double-decker bus would squirt the contents of this denim shirt like a toothpaste tube full of tomato puree in a manner arguably disconcerting to me and any passers-by. This thought temporarily shatters my tattered mindset. Yet I get let back in with the next thought that springs. All the other pain would stop. If you just flop yourself down on the ground in town as the bus comes round and you are flattened under the tarmac like a dough under a rolling pin, all the other pain would stop. And then my brain comes strolling in with another consoling thing. You're even wearing your good pants today. Thanks, but what about the bus driver? Can he bear the weight of my bones upon his shoulders? Is that my decision to make? To step out and let the bus bludgeon my body like a boulder staring resolute into my fate? I watch from afar as the driver is looking at me with a concerned look upon his face. A car thunders past, leaving me reeling in the vortex of the vacuum of its wake, my heart beating at a steady pace and as if in perfect place at this moment. I burst into tears. My fears forming a puddle on the pavement. Quite the sorry statement. My shock of mop-like hair doing nothing to aid me in the situation except perhaps to make it plain to see as to the true nature of my identity. A thought that fills me with uncertainty is certainly, I never knew what this word meant for me. I'm going to do it. I prepare to step. My body begins to brace. 1, 2. Before I get to the 3, a voice from behind me. Are you all right, mate? Not really, I mumble. Washcloth backhands deflecting the reflections from my cheeks. I fumble, nearly falling forward on fearful filibuster feet. Do you want to go where we can talk? I know a good place down the street. Okay, I say. And I step back from the curb. I breathe in deep. The 47 comes and goes. I feel its double-decker heat. I was saved by a connection, a superpower that's within your reach. It only takes a selection of single seconds for someone like you to speak. An interception at the intersection of the destruction of a mind. And you never know, you might just find that in that magic moment, you save a life, just like mine. Thank you. And on to a lighter note. Obviously that comes from a time where I never thought there was going to be a future. But recently in the lockdown, obviously, I've sort of passed, well, at a more manageable state. And in the lockdown, I think you've already heard this, Sandy, but in the lockdown, I've been thinking about the future. And this is a letter to myself in the future at the grand old age of 87. So it's called 87. Dear 87, you might not remember me. All the years of adventure and circumstance might have evicted some of the other stuff from the Mind Palace by now. I hope the anxiety wing has been demolished, or at least reconstituted in favor of a badass moment hall of fame. How many cats have you had by now? Do their memories comfort you like friendly shadows, calming shade when the bright sparks of thought get too much? As I'm sure there are still times when it all gets too much. Did you find love? Have you admitted to yourself you never stopped looking, even when you vowed never to hold it in your palms again? I hope you went to all the places that we dreamed about. I hope you kept a piece of each one and passed it on with hand and tongue to people who needed or deserved it. I hope you forgave yourself with the same forgiveness that you gifted others. I hope you still see peace in your perspective, and as you read this, you remember where you came from. I bet the road was long, but I bet it was worth it. I bet you look back and think, what was I thinking? I know I do. I hope in some ways you have changed. And I hope in some ways you definitely haven't. I'm sure you grace the stages and screens that we longed for, your pen dancing across pages, words woven into worlds, threaded onto faces and stitched into lips. I hope that you remember all of the best bits. I haven't seen them yet, but I hope I do. Read this and think of me. After all, I am you. Yours, always, 27.
Well, bloody wonderful, mate. Honestly, bloody wonderful. Now, I've got a quick question for you, Charlie.
Yeah.
You remember the poem that you did when I first met you?
Yes.
Could I be really, really cheeky and ask you to do that one?
Right now?
Yeah, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Love you.
So you know when you were little, your mum tried to make you be friends with her friends' kids, but sometimes you and them both knew the other wasn't someone you wanted to be friends with. Well, it seems that I used to get that an awful lot. I wasn't cool, but I was smart, and I liked to think that I was funny, but none of that mattered. I was a fool. My parents had a shit car, and we didn't have any money. No fancy trainers, second-time hand-me-down stuff, and a need for improvisation replaced the brand new Nike Airs, new clothes, and the PlayStations. I had a tough time, treading a rough line, but my parents, I couldn't blame them. They tried their best, and so I know that I should shame them, that I need to get to a place where I'm playing in a different game and I could provide them with the things that should have came when I was growing up, and not just when I've got fame, and hopefully show to me I'm supposed to be one of this world's main men. Because growing up, I was quite the particularly peculiar child, just a beginner on this path to someone unrulier and wild, with interests that didn't often extend much further than the end of my arms, my face in the book of pretend, and a rabbit called Charlie as a good luck charm. Because I spent more time in other worlds than in this one, listening to other people's fictional pearls of wisdom, because age 5, I became an addict. Addicted to reading and words, that is, and to let you know just how absurd that is, I used to get into trouble for reading books. And you're probably giving me funny looks, but I was late for school every single day because I'd be reading books instead of getting changed. Often these were the only places that made sense. I could block out the world and let the adventure commence, dispense with the intense pretense that everything in my life was fine. Just break open the pages and let each sentence shine its full beam, cinematic, straight into my mind's eye and experience from my bedroom what it feels like to fly. In a clapped out Ford Anglia and crash into a moving tree, or ride atop a dragon before a tiger came for tea. I've been to the front line in more wars than I can count, and I've seen it through the eyes of those who know what it was all about. I'm an intergalactic, interdimensional imagination time traveler, and I've got the hitchhiking tactics of a conventional patient prime passenger on the 42 bus now, straight through Earth and beyond. Stopping up on the way to pick up Sherlock and Bond because there's been a curious incident concerning a dog in the nighttime, and my old pal Roldal thinks it might be the right time to get the gang back together again, just for a special treat, because I've been feeling quite robotic, dreaming of electric sheep. We cross where 5 rivers meet on a wooded plain, and in the distance, I can see Treasure Island again. My brain waves are lapping at its shores as the tides go round this world in 80 days, no more. The bus stops, I rush off, a surge of recognition hits me like a Molotov cocktail, and as the shock pales, a glowing wave of comfort makes me rock wail. Every word and every story is tattooed tendril across my skin, always shifting, always changing, so as to let the new bits in. I'm back in the mind palace, and I'm surrounded by friends whose tales fill a chalice of gold down to the end. It suspends me with sorcery too special to send back, so I tend to extend that to fend off the realities of the day and transcend the formalities of having to say farewell to my fictional favorites in full. They know I'll be back soon. I can't withstand the pull. I need words to live. And if I don't get my fix, you'll find me sat in the corner, reading the back of a Twix.
Mate, I love that one so much. Oh my God.
Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. You are incomparable, my friend. Whoa.
Honoured.
Fantastic.
Literally all the hairs on the back of my neck, mate. I've turned my cam back on to say that was epic.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Really
Right.
appreciate it.
Moving on to the last open micer of this third. Please welcome Will Stevenson.
Hello. Not much to follow, like, so that's cool. My dog's just started playing up as well. She's been sat perfectly, but yeah, as soon as I come on, she's taking the piss. So anyway, here it is. This is the first one. It's called A Poem for Yuran Rehani. And it goes like this. Sit back, relax, it's the end of the world as you know it, and in a few hours a new dawn rises to take its place as the default state of play. There's no way conclusively to say the world don't end every day. When the coffee evaporates, the argument is dust. Notice this and course correct. Don't overdo it. Your beauty is invincible. It won't be stripped away no matter how much you hate your nails. Silent voices drag picks across creases in your brain. We're all damaged in the same way. I don't know why the world lets us pretend that all is A-okay when dogs can't laugh and fish can't cry. It's okay to see that we as a species have got something unique going on. Torture is breathing and understanding what breathing is and reading into it, because then you realize it can be snatched away at any minute. It's sentience that sends us under. And I often ask the question whether I'd rather be ignorant and happy or aware and sad, but I've realized recently it ain't as simple as all that, because Marx had relationships and Marx took the bins out. And he cried when his best mate died, and Engels never married because Burns and him were against the institution, and they weren't just thinkers, they were doers. The same way that your mate Fiona, that don't want to get hitched because you don't believe in it, is. You don't need to be deemed a philosopher to philosophize. Overthinking is a basic human right. And Dave from Skegness, yeah, he's a professional at it. Sometimes he thinks about his place of work in the world, and on his way to his next shift, underpaid, underprivileged, he manages to smile and look to the sky with some love left in his eyes and thank God for fish and chips. And I'm a vegetarian, so I can't fully get on board with this, but I can understand the sentiment. I can get where he is coming from. These tiny little things are the sediment, the tiny choices, the changes, it's the sentience that makes us brilliant. That's one, that's the first one. Yeah, I wrote that before lockdown, so it seems weirdly relevant now. This second one, I've not written much poetry throughout this whole thing. I was trying to write a piece every day at the start, and then it just kept on fucking going. I was expecting it to stop, so I gave up. But I have been writing loads of lyrics. So I've got a record coming out soon, it's like a hip-hop-y sort of thing. So this is called I Should Call. Little me looking up to big you. Don't know where you've been gone, don't know where it went wrong. I'm begging you, hold on. Hold up, because it's now on. Now I'm dark floors, paper planes, popping pills, hazy days on a stage, smoking fags, we drinking eights, keeping out of trouble like gum. Needed therapy for those days, got the goods, kept them straight, never had to bang. Yeah, I stole a few bits, and the worst consequence, slapped wrist, and I know it's different if the pigment switched. Now it's lights out because the bill due. Never had the bill tase me undue. Little island in a bowl jar, dewy lights, fuck a statue, leaning out of skylines, looking down, and I see the bodies hazing all about like a stranger on a train, splashing in and out. I'm clouded with chippy shops and clouded with red bricks. I've got reverence and broke sticks. I see grey skies and stark lies, bar lies, high fives, because I'm growing down like a grapevine. Pass it down the grapevine, I'm feeling fine. Just one request from me, when the sirens sing, smile widely please, and remember the oblique kid I've always been. Sick, ta, nice one.
You've got time for one more if you want?
One more? Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
encore.
Sick. Let's go through this really quickly. I haven't read this in ages, so it might be shit. Forgive me if it is. Ambulance staff, 23k, support assistant, 16k, legal secretary, 21k, dental nurses, 18k, marketing admin, 21k, gardener, 20k, hairdresser, 20k, waiters, 15k. All of these professions are paid less than what it takes to enter the UK as of 2020. They're designated unskilled work by their heathens above, yet these will never know the endurance of mentality, the mentality you gotta keep busy, scrapping on the barely their salary to see the work you to carry described as low skilled. When marketing officers sit there and get their pockets filled, nodding in meetings, wasting their days with meaningless data to triangulate a 0.4% increase in brand recognition for CEOs that will never know their names, when Linda helps the kids to get to grips with the alphabet and with loneliness, and goes home to make tea for her own three, saving up her crumbs to substitute for the annual trip to Mykonos, while the middle-income lot plan business trips on work finance to France to taste the croissants and get to know the European office, because harmony within the divisions is essential and it will never be as just a Skype call. That's ironic now, isn't it? The triangle is the wrong way around. If you want a cushy office job, then how about try it on the wages that the cleaner gets? Our parents said, go to university, you do not have to graft like me. When the graft is the government don't want nobody to do that whole work. Just kick back and hire an international marketing executive, I guess. I can't pretend that the work I do is high skilled. I've got a good grasp of writing shit and filing it, but I could never be a carer. I haven't got the patience to help with kids, and I don't fancy retail for life because being talked down to is not nice. Biting the tongue is a skill that the Eton mess will never get because they've never had to. If the devil was real, I would have sold my soul 5 times over by now. There we go, wrapping it up. Nice one. Cheers.
Oh, mate, fantastic. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again in Manchester and get that event sorted.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh. Right. It's time for the second headliner of the night. She is from Belfast, Northern Ireland. She's the current Northern Irish Slam champion, and since lockdown started has won a lot more slams. She is on a roll. She was a finalist in the All-Ireland Poetry Slam 4 years in a row, representing Northern Ireland in the Hammer and Tongue 2019 UK Slam Finals. She's the winner of the 2019 Kurt International Festival of Literature Spoken Word platform, and she's received Art Council funding from Outcast of Northern Ireland funding and the National Lottery to work on her full-length poetry show. Please give it up for Elizabeth McGeown.
I can hear someone clapping really enthusiastically. Thank you to that person. I don't know who it was. Hi there, my name is Elizabeth McGeown. I'm going to do, I guess because it's mental health themed this evening, I'm going to do a couple of pieces that I've written during lockdown. They're quite dark because lockdown can be a dark place. I've really relied on the internet during this time, but sometimes it's a bit of a double-edged sword. These both include a little bit of self-harm. I'll give a more specific warning before I do the second one. How to reduce screen time during an apocalypse. Smash screens against walls, fiberglass and plastic shattering like mines, like us, like carefully constructed strategies for poor mental health, for rationing thoughts. That is a thought for today. That is a thought for tomorrow. Do not think all the thoughts at once. There will come a day with none. Save some thoughts for Beth. Take stock. How many screens do you have? Which is your favorite? Have a ceremonial burning of it. Watch it melt in the tar pit while you think about your past life being as recent as 12 weeks ago. Things can turn on a dime, the Americans say. You read that on the internet. Your favorite screen is now melted, is cooling into soft, transparent slugs. You will read Americanisms in bed no longer. To prevent such destruction, you could blind yourself, slice off fingertips gingerly, anesthetizing yourself with the Zoom pub quiz gin. No fingers, girl, cannot scroll. No eyes, girl, cannot see. What is there to see and touch anymore? The last hug was 3 months ago. And I'm going to do one more. It's kind of a long one. It's basically all my thoughts about lockdown that happened at the start of lockdown when we were all in that really kind of strange, terrified place, not knowing what was going to happen. We still don't. Things just seem a little easier now. I don't know whether that's as it should be or not. But yeah, this one includes quite heavy mentions of OCD and some mentions of like suicide. Mother hurts herself, washing her hands too much, far too much, they crack. There are going to be many suicides. I utilize driveways on my walks. We see each other approach at a distance, we stiffen. If we can take it wide, we do large circles around each other, walk on an increasingly quiet road. Sometimes one crosses to avoid me and I sing their praises. Some will blunder ever closer, and this is not a game of chicken. I do not want to win it. I lurk in driveways. If they want this right of way so badly, this diseased shining path, they are welcome to it. Weeks ago, the nightmares began. Nightmares of the plague days. You are walking alone along a deserted street. Streets should be deserted. This is welcome. A group of teenagers appeared. You try not to think of them as wild teenagers, unwelcome teenagers, feral. You walk closer and one coughs. He has a cough. You cannot veer away because this is a dream and your options are limited. You fear turning back in case you attract their attention. As you are abreast with them, head down, following all the rules, he draws back and spits in your face. For 48 hours after the dream, you stay indoors, too frightened to venture out. The suicides will fall into 3 categories. Did you hear that a woman in a supermarket started biting people in the queue? A man paid for groceries with many coins, but before handing them to cashier, he placed each one inside his mouth and then gifted it, spittle shining to her, to capitalism. Security removed him because even capitalism has limits, does it? But that image will stay with her for the rest of her life. Coin, metal, mouthed man, pennies for teeth, grinning at her and asking her to accept his moist generosity. The first category of suicides will be the scared. 5 days ago, Mavis cleared her throat and you haven't felt right since. There is a burning in your throat, your chest. It could be angina. A man walked so close to you, you said, please move away. He did not move away. You cannot stand this death watch, death rates. Every time you receive an online notification, it is death rates. You snap elastic bands on your wrists repeatedly. They leave marks. It is not enough. I find myself in the graveyard, needing quiet company, needing the quietest of companions. From my high vantage point, I can see all around. No one can sneak up on me. A man wheels a pram up and down the hills. It is not a relaxing day out with child. He is pushing for something. He leans into the incline, head down, arms out straight in front of him. Pram as battering ram, pram as cardio aid, baby as excuse to work out this stifling indoor rage. The second category will be the lonely. Lonely does not mean what you think it means. Hundreds, thousands of people at the touch of a key, but are any of them speaking to you directly? Do they revolve around you? Did you know not everyone has internet access? You start to have trouble sleeping. The words you're not using bubble up inside you. You gasp for air. This house air is not fresh air. You smell your own sweat. Legs are restless and jiggling. Where is the line between stimulated and overstimulated? Your eyes are open. Your mind is played open. No one to sing it, soothed and closed. There are more living, walking people here, all blessedly far apart. A small family reads inscriptions on gravestones. A couple walk hand in hand at the northeast end. I walk the smaller paths, and in this dead end of places, some of these paths are dead ends. I pick my way between gravestones respectfully. I will always walk this land respectfully, greeting those who lie underneath with a whispered song. I spent my time with the Orrs, the McMasters, the Campbells, and thoughts drift to Ian. When we were 12 years old, in school we read of Ian. We dipped letters written in our best calligraphy in tea and toasted them to make them look old. We read aloud in class, and this was, we all agreed, the dullest book we had ever experienced, a dry cough of a book, until I took it home and it lived. The characters lived until they died. In this village, this Ian place, when the plague came, they made the only choice, the corona choice, the modern choice, the choice, even then in 1665, a pact to not leave those village boundaries until the fever raged no more. If anyone left, they would carry to others, and the spread could be limitless. So for a year, it fed on them. Choice cuts on a market stall, discarding some and gorging on others with seeming randomness, until the filth was buried. Goiters subsided, boils lanced, fevers broken, whole families no more than carvings on stone. Today, I thought of Ian. The third category will be the NHS. Have you seen them crying on the news broadcasts? Have you clapped uselessly for them? They intubate the foaming mouths and struggling lungs close enough to bathe in the carbon dioxide you expel. The ladies of the Women's Institute gamely swap their knitting patterns for the sewing of masks, humming Jerusalem all the while. They will not sew enough. Could not possibly sew enough for all the doctors in this green and pleasant land. Their feet in present time aching and raw from 12-hour shifts, they will not cease from mental fight until they do, nor shall their gloves slip from their hand. This is the last pair. I do not mention the nurses, for they have not been counted, and if they choose to leave on their own terms, they will not be counted among official statistics. Did you perhaps wait 2 weeks for your last GP appointment in 2019? You will wait longer after their numbers have been decimated. Sister tells us of conspiracy theories. I place hands or ears. To escape, we must walk. We must go to still places and breathe deeply. A half-remembered jaunt from 25 years ago, a duck pond that I never found again, and I will find it this time. I do not, but I find a magic place. Gate nothing more than a space between posts, and I step over. Grass is long and silent. This place is thin, and as I breathe this thin air, I take note of the wildlife all around me. Mr. Squirrel, pay no mind to me. I am just a sweaty human Mr. Squirrel. You don't need to mind me. I walk deeper through what I see now as a meadow. Teens have had a bonfire here, perhaps many fires. A discarded bottle top shines up at me and screams, Corona Extra. Isn't it just, I say, bottle cap, you're so right. I hear humans now. The bounce of a ball, but they are far away. Sound carries in these thin places. They are across the river, and I can stand still, actually stand still, fearing no trespassers, and stare into the moving water, this offshoot of the River Lagan. Lagan, it has been a month since I have seen you. We have never before been separated for such a duration. I will not leave it so long again. Today I thought of Iam, but even Iam's siege ended. Have people before emerged from waters shining? The hands submerged endlessly or eventually cleansed and dried, soothed with hand cream and treated like princesses, a baptism of sorts. My eyes gleam. In years to come, I'll celebrate tree roots, the comic crunch of acorns underfoot, and I slowly walk the path toward home. Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much to Tom Rudd for inviting me to take part in this evening's event. Thank you.
Elizabeth, you are magic. You are magical. That's all I get to say is you are magic. Thank you so much.
I was worried it would be too depressing, but I give a warning, so yeah.
It wasn't. It was magic. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks for inviting me.
That's all right. Right, second break. You've got 10 minutes again. Go smoke, go drink, go pee or whatever. Unmute yourself so we can chat again. Oh.
That was really
good. That was good, wasn't it?
fantastic.
Real.
Bloody cracking that. Fantastic.
So good.
So good.
So intense. So intense.
I've got one thing to say, and it's that my friends are so talented.
Yeah, you and your friend.
Yeah, can I drop out now? I don't want to follow any of these people.
No, sorry.
Yeah, that was wild. My voice has got distinctly lower. That's how good it was.
Impressive poems in your voice.
But yeah, thank you everyone for doing this. It's bloody brilliant, really.
That's it.
Sorry I'm so late.
It's all right. You had work.
I had work and then I logged in on the work account and then got a message from my director being like, are you still on Zoom?
I'm rinsing the fact that work have paid for us all to have pro Zoom accounts.
Have they?
Yeah.
We've got it's a yoga studio, so we've got 80 people in every session.
Oh wow.
Are you doing yoga? Oh, what? Via Zoom?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. How's it going?
It's going well. We did a Black Lives Matter one on Monday. and we had 187 in it. That's the biggest we've had though.
What does that look like in terms of yoga?
What do you mean?
Where's the link with the movement?
So
Do
the
you like?
teacher is in the studio,
Yeah.
and then they've got everyone else on the screen.
No. I mean, in terms of Black Lives Matter, I know how Zoom works.
We did flow, and we did a flow for justice.
Ah, cool. I like it.
So yeah, it was good.
Ah,
And we're a black-owned business. That was what
Oh,
the
amazing.
original connection was.
That's a good connection. I like that.
Awesome.
That's beautiful.
But yeah, that's the biggest we've had.
Was everyone just really tiny on the screen? Is that? I'm guessing you spotlighted actually. I don't know why I said that. I'm an idiot. Yeah.
100 tiny people doing yoga is.
Can you imagine?
is an image.
Be able to see the teacher, so
Yeah, that makes so much more sense.
Like, I think we're doing that.
Whereabouts are you based? You do it from. Sorry.
in Leeds.
Oh, in Leeds. Ah, fantastic.
But I went to uni in York, so I used to drive over a lot for like Bespeak, because that's how I know Tom, and then.
Ah, cool. Right. Oh. I've been doing lots of yoga with Adrienne.
How are you finding it?
Really good. I love it. Though Benji, the dog, I get worried every time, Benji the dog, because he sits still as a statue while she's doing yoga. And I keep thinking to myself, is the dog still alive? Is he okay?
Well, I've just had a cat
A cat join in.
joining in. She nearly got squished. She's here somewhere, I think.
Oh, bless her.
Oh.
So cute. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
There we go.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Brilliant. How are the cats doing anyway?
They're good. One of them is there.
Aw.
Right there.
Yeah.
I don't know where the other one is.
That's like a whole
Yeah,
cat.
mine's in the kitchen because she can't be trusted.
I've just got like
Actually.
No, seriously, every single time I let her in the living room at night, she'll shit by the front door without fail every night, all the time. So she sleeps in the kitchen because I can't trust her.
I'm from the living room.
Got a litter box next to the front door.
I did. She shits next to it.
Just taking the piss at that
Right
point.
next to it. She's doing it out of spite. I'm positive she's doing it out of spite. But no, she uses it in the kitchen, so she sleeps in the kitchen. It's perfect.
So nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. I just missed you.
Yeah, I've missed your face.
the fact that we can do these things is helping me along. It's bloody great, isn't it?
Thanks, Connor. I'm using Connor's Zoom account, and he helped. So thank you, Connor.
That's all right. Doesn't make sense for everyone to pay for things. Fuck capitalism.
Woo! What we're doing over here.
I love the fact that, like, because it's running through Winchester Fest, that's totally unacceptable. Just be like, yeah, ACAB, cool, sweet.
You make the rules.
So can I check? It's 5 minutes, isn't it?
It is. Although I'm being kind of lenient because I like hearing your voices so much.
Okay.
So if you go over a bit, it's fine.
Damn, and I was sat here with the stopwatch.
Oh,
Oh no. Some of us take our timing seriously.
You can go off, I don't know.
Yeah, I was worrying about running over as well.
Oh, I was going to take it seriously. But we've had a few dropouts, so I'm not as crunched for time.
What are you rolling about?
I've done that. I've done that before when we've had open mic dropouts. I've said, "Oh, everyone, just do as long as you want," and then the venue have been like, "Hang on, we've got a curfew in 5 minutes." So,
Well, luckily, I cleared this with Connor because Connor is my venue, and he said it was fine.
oh, there you go.
This is the nice thing about it, isn't it?
Where is it?
You can do the thing, and you can flex it a little bit more than you would do normally.
Yeah, basically, I'm being as lenient as Connor allows me to be.
We had more people at our event online last week than I think we've had in real life in a while.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it was really nice. People came from all over as well. It was so cool.
Yeah, no, I think that the most people I've ever had for one of my events, including performers, was about 7. So just with performers alone tonight, we've cleared that by a long shot. Not to mention all the viewers we've had so far. Like, I personally have had so much more reach with Zoom and online events, so I'm hella grateful for this.
You need to get yourself down to Kent.
I don't have like a spare 200 quid for train tickets.
Is that how much it is?
About.
Just get a coach. It takes like 8 hours, but it costs like a £5.
Or just do station to station.
Yeah, split it up.
Tell you what, when I've got like 2 days to waste on travel, then yeah, I'll do it.
Anyway, just don't pay for your ticket. Actually, that seems like a great idea. Just fuck it.
If I get a long weekend, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I've got to take this dog for a walk, but good luck to everyone, and I'm going to listen on Facebook. So, see you soon.
We'll see you in a bit.
She started being a little shit. So.
Right. 1 minute before we start again.
Sat on the floor.
I'm remarkably nervous.
Oh, so well off then.
Yeah, you'll know when we're starting. Should be muted again. So you can talk until then. It's fine.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Is it okay to mention the reopening of Portal?
It is.
Just so I don't know if everyone's heard of it, but there is a queer sci-fi fantasy bookshop in York that obviously had to close down for, well, all this shit. It's reopening on the 9th, unless anything goes wrong. So if you can get to York, go to it, because it is the best shop.
Agreed, it is the best shop.
Actually, I've got a week off, so I'm coming over.
Yeah, it is the best shop. It's amazing. Yeah, our friend runs it, and they're fantastic.
Yeah, they have a encyclopedic knowledge of all things sci-fi and fantasy and queer.
Yeah, so if you've got an idea for what you might want to read, ask and you will receive something.
Oh, that sounds like a good time.
Literally, if you describe a vague idea of what you might want to read, you'll get like 3 book recommendations. They are really...
Every bookshop should be like that. Just all of them. Like, they should all be like that. That's amazing.
They're not as good as our friend.
Our one here, our local one, is really good. A real friendly, a real nice place. But I love the idea we can go, yeah, I'm going to be vague, and then go, yes, here are some definite things.
Right, I'm going to start again, so you're all going to get muted. Cool beans. Right. Welcome back to the third and final third of the evening. It's going to be fun. And I'm going to do one last poem. And it's not going to be mental health themed because I can do what I want. Primarily, though, because she's finally fucking here for me to do it with an earshot. So, Mickey, this one's for you. This is Cuddle Drive. Bit of context. Mickey and a few others started a group chat around the start of the whole COVID fiasco, and it was randomly like a random thing mentioned, and Mickey was like, hey, you should write a poem about that. So I did. And so this is dedicated to Mickey because this is your fault. I don't have a libido. I have a cuddle drive. Cruising through space at a casual 45, not stopping or starting or anything so contrived. I don't need anything else. This is where I thrive. Cuddles, my friend, are enough to revive. Because you see it on TV. Everywhere everyone needs to bone. I'm indifferent to this plight, and it makes me feel quite alone. The media will have you believe that this is society's backbone, but honestly, out of proportion, this shit has been blown. I'm also a big proponent of cuddling your friends and showing them affection not as a means but an end, because we need to love each other. We need to make amends and usher in a world where cuddling is the trend. I hop back on board and set off towards the stars. And I take your hand as we rocket past Mars. We're safe up here. This galaxy is ours. My cuddle drive is full and we're gonna travel far. I'm a spacefaring, planet-hopping, new age romantic, and you're making my heartbeat really quite frantic. Just let me say I don't want to be so pedantic, but you swell my cuddle drive and make it gigantic. So come with me and I'll show you the universe. You planets and people and cultures you can immerse. We'll bed down at night and binge Steven Universe and cuddle, of course. I have a debt I need to reimburse. You showed me it was okay to come down to the ground. You helped unload my issues and left me spellbound. I'll never be the same, my insecurity is unwound, so all thanks to you, my love is earthbound. Thank you very much. I hope you're all enjoying this so far, and I'm going to move swiftly on to the one, the only, Alex Vellis.
So, that was great. This is the first gig that I've actually done and not produced a gig for in ages, like the first poetry gig. So I'm really excited to be here, and everyone's really talented, and it's really like, but yeah, so I've got 3 poems for you, possibly, depending on how much time I have, but definitely 2. So this first one is called, content warning. Everything I write is really depressing. Yeah, so this one's called Kiosk, and it's brand new. Loneliness is ambient, a bruised 9 p.m. sky, crawling clouds like curbs. The machine gun mouth of a Glaswegian woman shoots down the boy ahead of me in the queue. We mourn the dead. I take the blindfold off the young boy and pass it down the line. It is my turn next. I look at her tongue reloading, and wince. It's 2 for flinching. On birthdays, it is more. 1 for each year you have been alive. Bruises count like tree rings, and every broken bone is a decade. The security guard smiles. An elaborate belt buckle forces me to look at his penis. He fires it like an arrow and offers me to the produce aisle. It is tinned meat. At the cigarette counter, the bodies line up. There is a cone replacing the boy and smear marks leading to a desk. A man is crying at his son's funeral. The church bells at the kiosk ring, signaling assistance is needed. The mourners say, "Next, please." Their mouths are ceremonial ash. Thanks. That's the first one. So this is called Crisis Days. This is also super new and even less edited than the one beforehand. Also, I'm about to I turned 32 on July 1st. I don't know how many days are in June, so in 9 or 10 or 8 days, maybe 11. Yeah. And this one does reference how much of a shithead my dad is. So, and I think I swear once, but I just swore then, so I paused up that content warning. Crisis Days. I am 31 and most likely 1/3 through my life. I spent the last 10 of the first third smoking and taking drugs, drinking too much and stuttering when I spoke to women, rarely acknowledging that I also like to stutter when I speak to men. The second 10 was mostly puberty, hubris, and finding truth in the little things that hang like the top half of exclamation marks in parks after dark, several crates of 10 good friends and questionable life decisions. Me, I don't need uni. I got nothing to prove. Gonna get by on my good looks forever. Forever comes a lot faster when you drift out of sleep into your 20s. Wake up in those crisis seconds as the passenger of a car crash. You don't really have control. You were just an observer with strobe light flashes of childhood and really bad sex. The first 10, that's where it gets tricky. The first 10 have been bludgeoned into submission. My father held me underwater till the memories left. Air bubbles escaping a sinking ship, a cracked Atlantean dome that is filling a city with dread, an erasure of play days and school days and learning how to ride a bike, of car parks as football pitches, trees as mountain, and open fields as eternity. In turn, it's he that deems eternity a term that is unnecessary, because no one can love you for that long, not even your family, the one you're born with or the ones you choose. It is a fictional time period. So instead, he never said he loved me at all. And that seems like the safer option, even if it isn't the right one. I am breaking into my 32nd year like it is an abandoned hospital, and I am 15 years old with chipped shoulders and a lot of fucking attitude. I don't know what that means for the future, but I've started tattooing the past like track marks between my toes. I'm not embarrassed of where I come from or how I got here, but I'm not ready to let it show. And though I may never win a Dad of the Year award, predominantly because I am not yet a dad, I will give my fictitious kids handfuls of kisses like pounds of corner store pick and mix, years of youth to relive in its entirety, skyscrapers of highs in which the elevator is broken and can never bring them down, because I will love them like I am a city, and I will love them like they are a forest. I will love them like my father did not love me, and I will turn these needle points into a compass in which all roads lead to home, lead to safety, and safely I will mark a path in the dark that can guide them, because even though they do not yet exist, they have marked a path in the stars to guide me. I may say I am looking forward to my birthday, but in all honesty, I am just looking forward to their first day. Thanks. Now, do I have time for one? Well, another one. I've already done two. Whoa, that's fun, isn't it? What happened there? Also, I just realised that last poem makes me sound like I do a lot of heroin. I don't do a lot of heroin. This is just a really casual vest. Anyway. Yeah, this poem's called Cartographer, and it's about a homeless man that I met in Canterbury. So I started a community chest charity type thing, and it's partly for this guy that I met. So I'm going to retell his story as he told it to me. If that's okay. Mm-hmm. And it references heroin again, I've just realised. I got a back pocket full of painkillers and a left arm full of vein filler. I spend strange days in basements of train stations. My name's ageless. And times ancient. I put on a brave face when I ask strangers for spare change, but spare change hangs like a dead weight. I'm life adjacent. A passerby as it passes by, and I'm partly asking why this party's past its prime. I feel like I'm being hanged from the hands of time, and it's hard to hear new voices that don't sound like mine. I'm beginning to feel like the artist of a starry night. I'm a step closer to the afterlife, and even when I ask for answers, I break. Did you know it's been 2 days since I last ate? My girlfriend's period is late, and I'm supposed to bring a new life into this world? Great. It's after 8, and the only 8s I'm after are the scrapings of a dinner plate, and dinner is the meal I use to fuel the thrill of satiation. I've been emancipated, apparently, a travesty locked into a civil war. I made it here. But here, freedom doesn't look like an open door, it's just another alleyway. I got Salinger life lessons that I've paraphrased, carved into stone hands that now only know how to retaliate. No longer are my darker days parting ways, so now I'm left with sobriety as an aftertaste. Apparently I'm part to blame according to the bourgeoisie master race, but those bastards, they alter shape in altered states and cast away castaways. Back in my own country, I was an artist, mate. Hardly fame, but I could paint time like passing waves. But people like me, we pass in waves with passing waves. How am I supposed to know if this is a passing phase when my passing phrase is, pardon mate, if you got any part in change? You say, nah, I dart in ways and part in haste. I'm hungry and hardly made, and I can hardly see through this hardened face, or is it this heartless place, this artless spade that asks for pay in pounds of scarlet spray? My whole life I've asked for change, and all you say is, nah mate, not today. I said my whole life I've asked for change, and all I hear is, nah mate, not today. I said I asked my whole life, I asked for change, and all I hear is, nah, mate, sorry, not today. Thanks.
Fantastic, mate. Fantastic.
Thank you.
For legend. That was. Whew. You're right. You do talk about heroin quite a lot, but it still works.
Hey, yeah, sorry.
Moving swiftly onwards. Next up, we have the one, the only, Robert Steventon.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Can I just say before I start doing any poetry stuff, like how much of a joy it is to be part of such an amazingly inclusive and supportive community the poetry community has really seen me sit through some tough times over lockdown. So and the performances tonight have been bloody amazing. Can we do a big round of applause or sign clap before, just for everyone who's performed? Yeah.
With those hands.
Yeah. Do a hip hop air horn as well. All right. Okay. So the theme of the night is on mental health. This is a brand new piece, which fittingly is about resilience and mental health. The lockdown, I think, has put mental health under the spotlight, and I think more than ever, the services that people with mental health problems are needed. And for myself as well, I had to stop seeing my counsellor at the beginning of the lockdown. So now the only shoulder I can cry on is the hard shoulder on the motorway, and I don't even drive. So okay, this piece is a brand new piece. It's called The Bucket, and I should put in a trigger warning. I'm going to talk about suicide. Bite off more than you can chew, and then just fucking chew it. Drop your paddle deep in shit creek and then just row right through it. Failure's your foul weather friend. Don't attempt to undo it. So kiss its face and embrace gladly that this time you blew it. There's a bucket in your room. It's filled with shit. It stinks of shame. The urge to kick the bucket takes up all of your strength to refrain. You can stew amongst this stench, or you can pour it down the drain. Just know that each storm, even this storm, will run out of rain. So wait. Just wait. Let it throb while you abate. Know that you are just a visitor. You are not an inmate. Know that this is just their gambit. Know that this is not checkmate. You know you can't have the last laugh while your face is filled with hate. That bucket, it is gone now. You stood strong for no evasion. Last night your entourage of one summoned the strength of many nations. You saw how little is conceived through bitter tears and masturbation. Your soul's crannies and its nooks sustained a fierce fumigation. Now, allow morning shards of light to stab you right square in the chest. Measure this day not in cigarettes, but in satisfied breaths. Measure this day not in dividends, but in yourself invest, and then at dawn track down your lover and lay your head upon their breast. Tonight, you'll bask in the glorious gloom of your room all moonlit. Dispose of the gun, self-reconstruct, disassemble your doom kit. Drop your paddle deep in shit creek and then just row right through it. Bite off more than you can chew. And then just fucking chew it. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm going to do one more piece, sort of loosely on the mental health theme. So yesterday was Father's Day. I don't have a dad, and all parents matter. So this is a poem about my mum. I'm very blessed to have had amazing support from my mum throughout all my life, throughout all my nearly 30 years. She supported me, albeit in the most peculiar of ways at times. I had to move back home about 8 years ago. You never move back home because things are going well, do you? And while I was back home, I went out on a date, and the date didn't go very well. And I arrived back home, and my mum said, "Oh God, how did it go? How did it go?" I said, "Oh, it didn't go well." And she said, "Oh, Rob, a good shag would cheer you up as well, wouldn't it?" So with that in mind, this piece is about my mum. It's called Man of the House. Man of the house. Man of the house now. Houseman. Houseman. That's what they told her infant son. Before you've learned to walk, you must get on your feet and run. You're only 4 years clear of learning to wipe your own bum, and it appears you're the right gender, and every house must have one, like a drawer stuffed with plastic bags. A man of the house screws lids off jars with his Y chromosome. Every house needs a man, you see, manliness you should hone. Now pull your socks up, son, moss can't grow on a rolling stone, as if a 7-year-old's strength could be a pillar to her home. You might think, man of the house, well, this could make the best of me. Well, hold your horses, son, this house is in negative equity. Now, get on manning up, young boy, you're hardly houseman pedigree. Your mum's Sick in the head, you see. Better hope it's not hereditary. She's not in great nick, they told him. Step up, they implored. She's had to spend some time inside a psychiatric ward. Her words illuminated by gaslight to the two she adored, despite her devotion persisting since they cut umbilical cords. She'd retired from teaching early, but never ceased to be a teacher. She reached all learning outcomes despite veering from procedure. Things tidy not, but defying odds, brought two kids through the ether. The thankless tasks those two kids brought, no grim task was beneath her. Changing the oil in a car, refelting a leaky roof, safely chopping down a tree, she taught him in his youth. She'd watch on with discernment when he got too big for his boots, and when necessary, she'd knock him down a peg or two, like when at 14, she drove round to pick him up off his paper round after he passed out and projectile vomited down a cul-de-sac following an evening of underage drinking. She said nothing, leaving it to him to suss out that he was reaping what he'd sowed. Or at 24, when he arrived back home and boastfully showed a picture of his new girlfriend on his phone, said, "Bloody hell, Rob, has she got a guide dog?" Facebook Market charity shop finds keep her heart a boon. Massive white elephants are filling all her rooms, but these white elephants are gifts to friends, not useless heirlooms. 30 years ago, she played guitar to him inside her womb. But him, his masculine quest sequestered not, he yearned to manly summits. He found a manly task to do, but she'd already done it. He read about how men won bread, but she'd already won it. The web that kept them safe, it was his mother who had spun it. Man of the house, eh? This supposed role superfluous. There was no needed plan. Against the toils that followed, it was her who had the upper hand. The ignorant around them, they just didn't understand, for with his mother holding fort, their house, it didn't need no man. Thank you all so much. Stay safe. Lots of love. Big ups to Tom for putting this on. I've got a collection coming out through Flapjack Press next year. Lots of love to all the performers and everybody who's watching. Thank you all so much.
Mate, you're a legend. Fantastic, as usual. No, I'm just reminiscing about you winning the Say Out Slam because that was really, really well deserved and
thank you.
Brilliant.
Well, I didn't feel at the time that it was because there was someone else who was on that night who I really feel deserved it. Tom Rudd. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you're adorable. Thank you. Oh, no. Oh, you are very well deserved, though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so lovely. All right, moving on. Next up, we have the one, the only Bethany Rose.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm going to do two. One of them is called I, and it's a little bit about me and me growing up. And the other one is called Potato Salad because I always get asked to do it, so I'm going to do it. I come from why did you only get 90% when your brother got full marks? I come from how much are they paying you? I come from what's the point if you're not making money? I come from money over happiness. From we don't talk about emotions, from when are you getting that promotion? I come from education and academia. I come from straight A's, straight laced, straight edge, straight. I come from we don't know anyone who experiments with sexuality. I come from you didn't have to tell them that you're gay. I come from you need a haircut. You wear too much makeup. Have you taken that thing out of your face yet? I come from questions. I come from questions for answers, not questions for interest. I come from why can't you just understand? I come from science and finance. From your worth is measured in your productivity. From we don't really get the point of creativity. From why can't you see how much your pain is hurting me? I come from afternoon teas for formalities. From we don't believe in holistics. From with every drink comes a tray of biscuits. I come from I don't like your tattoos, don't let them be visible, don't let your scars be visible. From look what a mess you've made of your skin, don't let your mess be visible, don't be visible, don't B. I come from aren't you just your mother's daughter? I bet you take after her. I come from I am my own person. I come from interruptions because what you have to say is always more important. I come from exploration. From the alternative path my life has taken, I come from Saturdays getting pissed and looking fierce, from don't touch me. From fucking touch me, just give me a hug or something when it's not because someone's died. I come from with hair that bright, you're not exactly hard to find. I come from silence. From are you done yet? We're watching television. I'm not actually listening to you. Thank you. This poem is called I Don't Care About Potato Salad. It is 4 o'clock in the morning and I have not slept. My mind is going round and round and round in circles of if I'm real or if I'm not, or if it even matters. And so I found something to see, something to watch, something as pointless as me, as pointless as my clock, which is too going round and round and round in circles. I find a 5-minute video about potato salad, because when you're a depressed insomniac, the tweet, tweet, tweet of the birds, who too should be asleep, sparks no joy in my mind. And so I find something I have no interest in. And right now that could be anything. And I come across a recommended for you playlist. And I don't know why, since I've never in my life expressed a love for commercial food manufacturing. But at least there's some hope that a pointless video about the scope of a cubed potato might get me to sleep before the sunrise. And I once again have to put on my disguise as a functioning adult human. And after all of this, I am still awake and I still don't care about potato salad.
You've got time for one more if you want.
Do I? Okay, let me find one. Okay, this is Fight Like a Girl. Hey, do you remember that little girl with white blonde hair and sky blue eyes? She wouldn't go anywhere without her teddy bear and a safe hand to guide her plans. She's got a loving heart and a fierce mind, but her soul burns brighter than her prospects. That little girl is still here, inside. But she grew up in a world where women bake and it's men who make the difference. She has been taught that her story is not hers to write or read, but hers to follow in the footsteps of the men who came before her. Her role is to stand up pretty, to feel guilty for refusing the advances of unknown men, and guilty for knowing she is worth so much more. Her strength is seen as an act against the feminine. If she doesn't throw like a girl, or if she shouts and swears and stands up for injustice. She is not weak, and she certainly won't let society tell her her own strength. The world which raised her taught her to be herself, to stand up for what she believes in. But not like that. She is told to man up, to not be a pussy, to have some balls, to not throw or kick or scream or shout like a girl, to get back to the kitchen where she belongs. 2 problems. 1, you do not get to tell me where to place my existence. And 2, fuck that, don't make out that cake is a bad thing. Fight like a girl, well, this girl is fighting back. Thank you.
Oh, that was brilliant. Oh, you're so good. You're so talented. I miss you so much. Need to get you back in York at some point, please.
I know, soon. As soon as lockdown ends.
Yes.
Oh, the other cats appeared.
Right. Moving from one flower to another. Next up, we've got Mickey Violet.
Hi. I think I've been finding it really hard to write in lockdown. So this event is definitely like the kick up the arse that I've needed, and you're really inspiring. So Just wanted to say thanks. First poem, trigger warning, sexual harassment, abuse, and the second one we'll get there. Oh yeah, and I don't give my poems titles because I can never think of them. Imagine being able to take the scenic route to work, and by scenic I mean that small bit of land between my flat to the bus stop, a park, a place forbidden when that sun doesn't shine and it's dark and lonely. I know I'm not the only one when they hear footsteps running behind them, then beside them, that calculates the time it'll take to get my phone out of my pocket, unlock it, and either record a last message or be selfish and call for help. What if when I left that flat, I didn't imagine every headline under the sun or in the sun? Then I realise it's my boyfriend that's laying in bed, not just anyone. I lock it anyway because I don't know what it's like to live in a world where locking a door isn't survival, when knowing how to throw a swift punch to the bollocks wasn't a recital. But it's not just hoodies and shadows that you all whine about that I'm afraid of. It's iron suits and clean shoes that unbraid my innocence. I didn't take the scenic route, so now I'm sat in an interview and he's asking me about gaps in work and I'm just trying to get through, telling him I need to put food on the table and I'm not exactly mentally stable, and he knows that because part of new policy means honesty in the workplace is a necessity. But as soon as I start telling people about him calling me pretty and I'm confessing about a hand on my knee to a subcommittee, I start hearing rumours about a girl. That girl is me, and I've learned that she is in fact crazy and there is in fact inconsistencies in the story. So now I'm walking back the scenic route with a box of my belongings and I'm wondering if we'll ever feel safe in our own surroundings. Okay, and second one, this one is basically just about my working class scummy background and how that's made me who I am, and I'm very proud of it. I can hear my mother tongue. No, it is not English. Well, it is some form of it. It's the talk of the council class, the plebeians, rabble and trash in a sea of posh twats. It is a beacon. I'd never shag a fucking Tory. These are my people. When being poor is being poor, we are a generation of misfits. Our parents were Tories living lives in only black and white. Seeing people in only black and whites with lots of pockets and no pennies, the headlines of the Sun coated our butties, our bread and butter threatened by Tories. Years later and we've made it. University will be worth it. That's what they said, but I still don't get lunch breaks. And the world still sees in printed press and I am grey. Some days I am pink, born to work but aiming higher. I just want a lunch break. For now, I'm cracking open the Aldi tinnies. We don't need to play Ring of Fire because we've done fucking everything and nothing. The entertainment is the memories. We drink to forget them, but we fight about whose parents were the most fucks. I don't know what the fuck a key lime pie is, a veggie for life nowadays, but I've had every shape of chicken nugget. Dinosaurs masking the deception. For all of the Wordsworth poems, I was brought closer to my roots. Lectures that divided, there was no Pandora's box to mask the shit, instead we lived it. I learned the key skills growing up on the block. To ignore your parents when they raid your piggy bank in the dark, to expect and swallow quick at every grisly part of a sausage. Car boot sales are hard to beat, but pie in a tin is the shit. If you had pucker pies, you were posh. I am talking about Frey Bentos. And the Gucci belt you got for Christmas has definitely not fallen off the back of a truck. It was stolen. Just like that sandwich you ate on the way round Tesco, because my parents couldn't afford to feed us, just as they couldn't afford birth control. I am proud to be a terrible accident. It has taught me to always use protection, a lesson that has been forgotten once or twice, winging it because life has been a risk. Me and my brother used to play this game. The rules are simple. Do not open the door. Windowsills are to be hidden under, and if anyone sees you, you don't know your mum. It was called Where's the Bailiff? That's it.
Do you want to do one more?
Oh, I'm not prepared, but yeah, sure.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
I'll go for it. Yes, let's go for it. This one's sad, why not? So this is basically about my parents being shit, basically. It's about my mum. The only time we hugged was on your birthday or Christmas, after the exchange of gifts when you felt forced to accept my gesture. And even then, if I held on for too long, I could feel your body pulling away. And you disguise it in a light-hearted manner as I hid my heavy heart. And I clung on to bedtime stories I hid under the cover, curled up with a lone book. But I wasn't lonely. I was surrounded by characters created by people that understood me more than you. And sometimes I think about you now, sat in that same room I escaped from, a glass of wine in hand, and as you nod off to sleep again and it pours across your body, I wonder if you ever think about those awkward hugs. And I hope you don't, because even now the mass of that memory weighs a ton, and I hope you don't regret not knowing about the hungry caterpillar. I can't think about you for too long because I've spent so long sending you to bed early and closing that door. I think about you being lonely, but I remember I left those characters behind waiting for you to find them. They taught me lessons in love that you and Dad never could and gave me endings I'm still waiting for. But most of all, they taught me it's never too late to open a door. Done.
You are wonderful. You are very, very wonderful. That was nice. That was really nice.
Thanks.
I mean, it was
I
really
don't think nice is the right word.
Yeah, neither do I, but I'm running out of compliments, so I'm going to be generic. Sorry. All right. The last open mic performer of the event. If I can find their name, there you are. Right. It's time for the person I started this entire journey with. Please give it up for Malin Fox.
Hey everyone. I'm going to try and fit in 3, I think. Here, the first one, I'm going to go really dark and then get lighter. So I'm going to start with, I think, probably the darkest thing I've ever written. And it comes with content warnings for suicide ideation and description of suicidal technique. It's called Tangled Thread. It's quite short. It was written when I was in one of the darkest places I've been. You take a rope and fold it into 3. You take one end and wrap it around the other 2 and itself, about 9 times. Then push the end through the loop you've created and pull tight from the other end. I learned how to do this when I was 14. It's the same knot used to tidy away horse lead ropes so they don't tangle. For 2 months, I slept when I managed to sleep with a noose under my bed. I made it when the thought of living became harder than the thought of dying. Because a noose, you see, is a knot used to prevent a thread becoming tangled and useless. Thank you. It's really weird not being able to hear people, but okay. Next one is one that was written from a prompt on Poetry in the Time, I think most of you on it, Poetry in the Time of something, or I can't remember its name right now. It was the prompt, if you weren't a person, what would you be? If I weren't a person, I'd be a book with the last chapter missing. The certainty that you can never know the ending and blank pages glaring, inviting you to write the ending yourself. If I weren't a person, I'd be a bag full of letters waiting to be formed into words to be lovingly laid out into meaningful patterns, hoping for that triple word score, but settling for explanation and understanding. If I weren't a person, I'd be a memory, a lingering feeling hanging in a loved one's mind, an awareness of missed opportunities and failed endeavour, slowly fading into an undeniable sense of unease. Thank you. And I don't know how much time I've taken, but this is okay. This is a happier one. Tom actually came up with the title for this one. It's called Plus, but it's literally, and at Tom's suggestion, is just the plus sign, just to be, for someone who writes this shit, I'm losing all the words today, losing them all. Anyway, what it was last year, Writing Proud put a prompt word every day for you to write a poem every day. Now, I'm lazy, so I just made a note of all the prompt words and put them all in one poem in order. So this is Plus. Coming out isn't easy. And it's something you do more than once. It's something you may find yourself doing for the rest of your life. Because we aren't always flying our flags, and sometimes the truth can put you in a dangerous situation. But the queer thing is, it is also so very, very healing to be who you truly are. We often pin our hopes on the kindness of others and carry our fears as a shield, but we can dance amongst our labels and find ourselves bathed in sunlight as we discover more about our identities. The journey can be hard. It certainly won't be straightforward, but in each of us is a strength of nature helping us to fight onwards. Make each arrival a new discovery, a gateway to a better future, one that is brimful of love. It's true that peace and harmony are often in short supply, even amongst the community we are part of, but we will find our people. I won't ask you or expect you to forgive the shitty people, because the gatekeepers and the bigots don't get to define who this movement is for. Don't just be the letter, embody the spirit, and be bold, because visibility is important. And if you're lucky, your family love you regardless, but if not, your friends are the family you choose, and I'll be your shoulder if you need it. Because you shouldn't hide from being yourself, not for anyone. It started with a riot, and it's okay to celebrate and wrap yourself in rainbows, but don't forget our history. And don't forget your wrath alongside your pride, because we deserve better than we've had. Thank you.
Time for one more if you wanna.
Let's see.
Can I request fugue state and B minor?
I did that last time.
Yeah, I've done a few of my poems that I did last time.
Last time.
All right.
I'm not doing what I did last time.
All right.
So I might end up doing that if I can't find. Tell you what, I'll do my golden shovel. If anyone doesn't know, a golden shovel is where you take prose or lyrics or another poem, and each line becomes the end word of each line you write. So not the first word, the end word. And this one is based on The Kids Aren't All Right by The Offspring, and the chorus that they sing. Life is full of opportunity, so many chances, though most aren't grasped and many are thrown away. There are walls to contain us and nothing's worth the effort except if it's free. They fill us full of longing for things we have no use for and make us forget what tricks they employed, tactics used to create false desire to destroy our contentment to just be. We forget what it's like to be still when we're force-fed images. It's making attainment happiness too hard. Our minds held, our hearts become hard as we fill our homes to bursting with things we just need. We just need to see that the facade they sell is fragile, and we could take back our lives. When the illusion is shattered, we can look once again to our dreams.
As always, you are bloody brilliant. Yeah, thank you for coming back and doing that. That was absolutely excellent. I always enjoy hearing you do your thing, and I can't wait for you to get published, because that's still in the works. That's going to be fun. Right. Time for the last headliner of the night. I hope you're all ready. He's a poet perpetually on the edge of collapse, shortlisted for the Outspoken Prize 2020 and longlisted in 2019. Renowned for his off-kilter frenetic delivery and intense stage dynamic, he grew up in the punk scene, and it shows. Injecting gallows humour into fiercely wrought metaphors, he subverts the narrative of addiction, bringing a wry touch to the devastating subjects, whilst allowing himself the space to be painfully candid and devastatingly vulnerable. Please, give it the fuck up for Sam Grudgings!
Hello, everybody. How you doing? You all good? Can you see me all right? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Guess, yeah, good, fantastic. Thank you so much for giving me the space, Tom. This has been a wonderful evening. Thank you to all the performers. It's been like, what's been really nice is kind of seeing some themes reoccur and come through, and being able to almost reiterate my set and go, yeah, fucking cool. This is what we're gonna do. Before we do that, this has been pretty heavy. A lot of the stuff, wonderfully trigger warnings. But I just want to ask you, and you're at home, so like you don't have that thing of feeling like a dick. Equally, I can't see you, so you don't have to do this, but this is something that one of my colleagues, Beth, taught me, and I've seen a lot of people do, and I think it's quite useful. So if you're at home, I just want you to make the silliest fucking sound and movement you can. I'm going to be on screen doing this, so you'll see what my silly thing is, and just release like a lot of stress. So this is going to be mine. Or something along those lines, whatever works for you. But I hope you've all, if you're still going, that's great. Like, release as much stress as you need. That's fantastic. I'm not going to complain. Cool. So a lot of stress is out. Now, again, to make sure I'm holding this space right, and like, I think if anyone's seen me before, you might know my stuff is generally pretty heavy. I talk about addiction. I talk about everything that's kind of been touched on here. And I had a challenge for myself when doing this. That actually, I don't want to do that. So this is probably the first and maybe only set I will ever do where I don't think there are any trigger warnings required. I'm aiming to go kind of happier, just happy, which is, as I say, that's a fucking novelty for me. So apart from swear words, there really shouldn't be any triggers, but I will double check before I do each one. But again, we've got all the energy out. Next thing I'm going to do is center yourselves again. So again, you don't have to do this, but it helps. If you could all close your eyes, breathe deep. It has been shit. It has been tough. Breathe in through your nose. Keep it for 4 seconds. And out again. Keep doing that. It has been tough. You're doing so fucking well to have got to this point. I don't think it's got said enough. Everything that's been touched on is exacerbated excessively in this period of isolation that we're all doing. I want you to know you're doing well, and I want you to grasp onto that. So keep on breathing. You can keep your eyes closed if you want. Now that I've got you in a place where hopefully you feel a little bit calm and you're in that kind of liminal space the poetry wonderfully encapsulates, I am going to lead you in prayer. Okay? Goes like this. This is unrecognizable prayers. Oh, holy list of things I do not need. Oh, commerce. Oh, fear sold as a product, the not having at discount prices. Oh, mighty complicit privilege. Oh, identity theft posing as personality test. Oh, holy rising moon in my apathy house, help me decipher this being as an abstract. Oh, apocryphal holy grail of recognition in anatomical diagrams and grimaced sallow faces. I am a forever vomiting emoji, sick of my own callow need for being. I am, and I offer my own graven image as testament to existing. Oh, false idol available in 7 easy payments and 3 difficult ones. These hymns are 2-way streets. If I contour my virtue signaling, then I can make it seem like I am caring. Oh, holy living as protest. Oh, friend. Corroborative scripture that I am loved. I have not confessed. I wouldn't be here without you. Oh, my most reverent, intimate calluses from holding on. My apostasy is in never letting you know that the scripture of your trust kept my penitence. And oh, I have kneeled so as to avoid looking you in the eye. Oh, pantheon of almost. Oh, sermon of us. Oh, most carefully rounded shoulders. Oh, most successfully phobias. The high cost of salvation. To you, my holy companions, my church that has become, I have denied you the ravens who grab the sunrise with the claws and swoop upwards, pulling the date behind them. They, like you, are miracles. Thank you. Cool. So religion, we're on that. Getting you on my side and all this sort of thing. It's been brought up a little bit, but it's Pride Month, and I don't know about you. As I said, I'm aiming not for this to be triggering. But I don't know about a lot of you. This feels more like fucking Wrath Month. Being stuck inside, not being able to attend protests, and it's strange. The whole existence of the continued existence of queer people is a protest, because despite all the freedoms that we have and that are allowed us, there are still so many fucking places and things that need to be done, and we can't go out and protest them in the ways that we want to. And kind of on the back of that, I also want to recognize that Pride, in its form that we understand it, was started by a black trans woman. So any fucking thing that you have from Pride, take the Pride is a protest, and that we've got to look out for one another, that we've got a lot of work to do. Sorry, I know you're poets, I know you're all left wing, and you don't really need preaching to realise that, but I also feel that right at the moment it does need to be said. So we will come on to how to argue with racists at some other point, some handy tips and tricks, but using Pride Month as a segue, I recently had a couple of pieces published in this, which actually, because of the lighting, I don't think you can see. It's Cypher Shorts #1. There will always be nights like this, and it was asked for queer poets and queer writers to write in response to how they have been coping in lockdown. And I'm amazed I got in, but genuinely, even if you're like, I'm not really a big fan of Sam, check this out, because some of the writing in there is so profoundly moving, it's ridiculous. And it cost £6 from Cypher Press. They've gone into their second printing, and all profits go to LGBTQIA plus Outside, which is a homeless charity for anyone queer. So there, I will put up a link on the Facebook if that's all right with Tom. Sorry to do a plug, but it's a cause that I think is really cool. And this was, I'm gonna do two of these, I reckon, because as I said, they're actually not sad. They're just about being lonely, which I guess is sad, but everyone's lonely. So the first one is called Netflix and Chill, Only Make It Existential. And I've never read these before, so you are my guinea pig audience. If anyone wants to span the gaps between my ribs, the bone and breath where capture is absent, to find failures, contortionism, to count each protrusion like it's their own, you are welcome. It will mean I don't have to trap fingers in the bars of the cages I keep my heart in. I have had enough of searching for proof that I am living in my skin. Excuses have no room to be. Doubt's line of questioning seldom makes for satisfying responses. My body in this way is evidence of caution. My body in this way is evidence. My body in this way is not a crime scene, but at least a suspect. Because superlatives heal slowest, and that's been true since day one. In the space between the punches, either exchanged or delivered, there is only a void. In this way, we are all guilty of looking for responses or answers or redemption in the lives of others. Ignorance adores a vacuum. And some winds have no border patrol. The divorce of skin from muscle has left an open-ended request to corroborate your version of events. This is not intended as an indictment for searching. But the meat of answers does not sustain the violence of looking, so prove me innocent. The cold case of my gone body and the guilty verdicts fall apart. I ask you uncover some tentative archaeology of what I was. Proof that my life, delicate, still lingers. Thank you. I haven't said it yet. Fuck, I'm really sorry. You're all extremely good looking. You really, really are. It's probably the best, most attractive bunch of open micers, headliners, and hosts that I've ever seen. Also, thank you for doing Cuddle Drive. Tom was really nice to donate that to a thing that's at my nan, and that's really sweet. I really do appreciate it. I think she was really quite enamored with a lot of it. So thank you for that. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because it seems too white savoury, but as I said earlier, I do think it needs to be addressed. we are all stuck in our screens at home and staring at Facebook and Twitter, and we are finding out that we have horrible racist uncles and cousins and colleagues, and it sucks. It's really difficult, and because there's nowhere to go, there's no one to turn to. Oh, Jesus Christ, have you heard about this? This guy's a wanker. It's really simple to kind of switch it off or mute people and everything like this, and it's, I actually do kind of go, yeah, do that a lot of the time. But also a really clever trick that I've found is if you see shit and it really riles you up, and some of this shit is abhorrent, really clever trick I found is to ask questions. Just ask, just why, like act like you're fucking stupid, because you're asking questions of someone who's a fucking idiot, someone's a really ignorant person here. And it really helps just to go, what, that's interesting, why do you think that? Oh, okay, keep on going. And like also, I would also add this as a caveat, is you can take the option to kind of go, I'm dropping out, I'm disengaging, like I've tried. Because what will happen is when you talk to racists, you will often find that a lot of them will just go, yeah, this is why I think this. You go, oh, that's why? And then they go themselves in circles, and by allowing them to see the mistakes in their own reasoning, it actually does a far more effective job of going in and going, this is why you were wrong, and I am the best person. So just in case you're having mental issues with fucking dealing with all the shit that's going on, as I'm sure a lot of you are, that's a helpful tip. But also disengaging is really useful because we're trapped and there's nowhere to go. That was a less positive note than what I meant to end on. But I'm going to do the other one from this, which is Welcome Home, Lonely Skin. And it goes like this, and it's about lockdown. Early bedtimes adopt the wary, who in turn adopt the haunted look of government-sanctioned internalized phobias about adult things such as answering phone calls, remembering to tell someone you love them, cooking meals for yourself, not as an act of self-care, but of necessity, closing doors behind you and burying those who didn't make it. To whom it may concern, it mustn't. Don't let this destroy you and make you, tear you from the foundations of today. I have observed the wound in home from having left it. I scar like scaffolding, even knowing that I will return. You are a ghost, sick of your own stain. And in a world of leaving, being haunted is a kindness. Salt settles in wounds, and there seem to be more mornings than last night. It does hurt, but skin is not rationed, not turning into evenings. Being away is the high cost of salvation. Sanctuary can look a lot like an unmade bed. Undo the sleeplessness that you are preventing. Covet the touch. It is the most human thing that you are prevented from doing that defines you upon returning. Thank you. Is there time for one more, Tom?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. I'm really sorry my links aren't, like, for all that I'm trying to like make this a relatively positive and go, no trigger warnings. I also consciously realised there should have been a slight trigger warning in that last one. I apologise for the absence of that. That's me not knowing my own work because I'm in lockdown. I'm really struggling to remember stuff because, yeah, my mental health isn't great. I haven't been sleeping great. I'm not any better awake, but I'm not too great sleeping anyway. Obviously, I'm sorry my links aren't great. They're normally I kind of script myself a lot more, but I got like 3 hours sleep last night. If you want to follow me, I am down in Bristol. Quite easy to get to when lockdown is all over. There's a great scene here. Again, I want to thank Tom for giving me this opportunity. It's really lovely to see so many faces and hear so many voices. A lot of you, even if you are mentioning Winchester, which is a Hampshire escapee, I do detest you slightly for that. Charlie, it's lovely to see you as well. I've missed you since we have hung out. I really want to like go up to my friends and kind of do that thing where you run your hand through their hair as you hug them and just go lean in and kind of crush them like just a little bit, you know. And you can feel they're not like moving away, because if someone moves away in a hug, that's when you got to go, all right, I'm leaving this. But I really want to do that thing and just go, God, you smell nice, you're a human. So yeah, this is my last poem. I've been working on a big old collection of poems about addiction, losing religion, and various things like that. And this is kind of one that I wrote a little while ago. There's a chap in Bristol called David Ralph Lewis, and he submitted a prompt to a wonderful night called Tonic. This was the first time I ever looked at a prompt when that's a happy prompt. That's the one I'm going to fucking run with. And the prompt was Fortune of the Brightest Kind. And so this poem is about the people that make up faith in the absence of faith. This is for anyone, if they are religious, if they aren't religious, if you're agnostic, apathetic, atheist, or don't know, or whatever it is. It's just for someone finding faith in the people that you love and in the memories that have made you. And again, hopefully it's a happy one. It's called No, I'm Not the Messiah, I Just Work Here. It goes like this. The hours in the evening that make everything stop hurting, only always. The inchoate of yearning and forgetting that to need is possibly the most human thing to do. And also that mountains do it sometimes. These are not metaphors for anything. Eating apples to their core, for the sake of orchard stomachs, the thought of a gift rather than the giving, and castles erected in backyards to commemorate falling, are not metaphors for anything. The knowledge that telling someone you love them is often just the universe giving you a chance to explain yourself. It's not a metaphor for anything. Time is a gift in recovery. As it passes, it gets better. Touch is a language. Contact is punctuation. These are our allusions to anything greater. None of these, in this instance at least, are referring to a larger, better known work, and do not in any way question the divinity of God or of self. They just are. What I'm trying to say is they're not metaphors for anything. Because in time, parents become excuses. We are awarded mouthfuls of the moon for our penance, and it does not take much for the ear to swell sated at times like these. No one wants to become a metaphor for something else, not when nostalgia is an awkward artist, not when the benefit of hindsight before the act of happening is a way of reminding yourself to live in the moment better. Sometimes the most pleasant memories do show the saddest secrets, and should be noted that this is just a beta minor of regret and isn't intended as a method of explaining away something inexplicable. If you're wondering, does this refer to you? I'll ask if you thought falling in love was an exercise in joining the search party that is looking for you. You will eventually know the answer is that you will find friends that make it seem nothing like falling, but like revealing something beautiful to someone that they didn't know about themselves. This is not a metaphor for anything. It's a hope. Something that isn't sacrosanct. Something that proves I'm just a figure of speech, a simpler method of demonstrating that I too am finite. Our mouths are not sarcophagi. Even though we become experts on grieving, your tongue is worth more than compassionate leave. I trust it to measure the grief in our distance. So tell me you have missed me and mean it. Tell me you are someone who is all devil details and boxed gods, resisting introspection, someone whose hands are boxes, unable to cage this, because you and your arrival in other people's lives are not metaphors for anything else. Who would want to explain away the magic of you with a trick of phrasing our words were given to us by our ancestors? Who wanted to tell each other the least poisonous berries to eat and the sharpest beasts to steer clear of. Our tongues were gifted to us by some unruly being who thought it clever to tattoo a map on our bodies and then still leave us lost for words. So it is not surprising if any of this seems like a metaphor for something else. It is not surprising if any of this seems like I'm trying to reach something greater, more noble. But the way I see it, we're all just a narrative trying to prove a point. The way I see it, ultimately, we all have some epilogue in mind. We are an allegory that helps understand itself by being, until we show our hand, full of this magic trick of being that hides in semantics. I will thank whatever accident caused this exact moment to exist. the providence of company and of friends and lovers like you who have become my church that I can't explain away with calling it divinity or a metaphor. To you all, I will thank you for this fortune of the brightest kind. You are wonderful. Please look after yourselves. Please look after everyone that you have the capacity to take care of yourselves. And thank you again so much for having me. It's been a wonderful experience. You guys have been phenomenal. I love you so much. You're so attractive. Thank you.
So good.
You are seriously fucking magic. Like, oh my god. Thank you so much for doing that. Also, you're very attractive as well. I thought I should put that in there. You were kind enough too. But if you'll indulge me a minute before you leave, I just want to say lots of really nice things. Firstly, I know you've all been sharing your links in the Zoom chat. If you want to find the live stream on Facebook and put them in there as well, so everyone listening could also see your work and stuff, that would be great. Let's get you all plugged a little more. But honestly, seriously, everyone, thank you so much. Every single person.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Cheers, Tom.
Absolutely wonderful. I love you all. My friends are so talented, and you're all my friends at this point. I mean, some of you I've known for ages, some of you I haven't, but you're all my friends at this point, and you're all so talented. I love you all.
So much love.
So much for doing your thing. You've all been absolutely phenomenal. This event would be nothing without all of you. Seriously, I'm so grateful. I'm so incredibly grateful that you decided to, give me your night to do random shit and hear me talk, and then hear each other. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for putting it together, mate. Really good.
I'm gonna cry, mate. I'm gonna cry. The rest of yours. That is the end of tonight. Keep your eyes peeled on the next event. I'm planning something. I'm planning a few things. But yeah, if you follow my page, Anxious Anarchist Poetry, you will see the updates, I guess. Random stuff for myself. And yeah, follow Whiskey and Beers Publishing. Got a Sansby, Alex Vellis, loads of really talented people that help put this together. And, make sure we can actually be online and doing things like that. Thank you, everyone.
So they set also you and them as well.
This is dope, man.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.